jump in the back of the pickup truck and join us for a ride back to the good old days.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine?
A nostalgic podcast based on entertainment and memories from the 70s, 80s, and early 90s. Come with us and revisit the best time ever. So jump on your BMX bike, pop a heavy metal tape into your Walkman, and hang on tight while you go back to the past with us.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
You got the best! The hottest band in the world! KISS!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pastimes at 80s High. This is AJ. Going to do a little episode of Preachers of the Night again. Got my brother Mark here. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing pretty well tonight, AJ. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. So I think this is going to be a fun one. There's, so many memories going to these shows, and I'm sure you feel
Speak
the
for
same
yourself. There was a lot of beer involved, but all right, we'll try our best. All
right. Memories. That was a bad word. Lots of fun. Let's put it that way. I know.
That's a good word.
I look at it and I think the same thing. I'm like, my goodness. But anyway, so I've seen 37 shows in my, what would I call that? In my history. But anyway, we'll just get going right out of the gate tonight. And I'm going to actually start things off tonight. We'll mix it up a little. I usually let someone else go first, but I'm going to start with my number 7. That all right with you, brother?
Yeah, that's great, man.
All right. My number 7 is the Farewell Tour. June 27th, 2000. Was in East Rutherford, New Jersey at the Continental Airlines Arena.
You went all the way to New Jersey?
I did, and there's a reason behind it. And that's when Mike Townsend, good buddy of mine, lived right on, where was it? Broadway. But anyway, so he lived right there. So I went down. VJ came with me. We both took the train down separately, from Boston, that's the first time I've ever done that. It was a lot of fun. And, this memory for me is just really great because I get to spend a lot of time with VJ, going around Manhattan and all of New York, and then going from New York to Jersey to see the show. And this is actually, I should have mentioned this, but on the, I think it's Kissology. I might be mistaken. I don't have everything in front of me, but I think it's on the Kissology box set. This is the One Last Kiss show that,
really?
Yep. It was the bonus disc, I think. But Skid Row and Ted Nugent opened. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, you want to talk about memories? This is where you made such a good point because I couldn't tell you anything about the opening acts. And that saddens me because we are huge, both Skid Row and Ted Nugent fans.
I love both bands.
Yep. And the fact that I don't remember a lot about that, but I do remember.
How about the Kiss part?
I do remember that, and it was just phenomenal. That was a great show, and to be there with Mike and VJ. VJ was a diehard like us, and just one of the greatest shows. And
that tour was hit or miss.
Yeah, it sure was. Yep. The cracks were starting to form, as we would say.
I know. All right. I know.
Well, brother, that brings you to number 7 then, man.
Okay, you want to talk about a memory. This was not far from where we used to live in Hinsdale, New Hampshire. It was pretty much a music festival. You remember that, right? The one down in Swansea.
Oh, I sure do.
Well, LA Guns was supposed to warm up, and they didn't. And I remember looking at the stage, and there's Gene Simmons pointing to his roadies. I want that girl. I want that girl. And Eric Carr was kind of pairing behind him. And so, this was July 4th in 1988. And what I'm gonna do during this whole show is tell you who Gene and Paul were both always there, but during this show it was Eric Carr and Bruce Kulick.
Oh,
so
man.
it was fun. I mean, it was fun. It was almost like they were less bombastic because they couldn't really do all the pyrotechnics.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
And it was fun, if I remember right.
Oh, it was, man. And not only that, Mark, but it was just such a weird venue for anybody that couldn't have been there. It's the crazy
Swansea. Remember that?
I can still
that
hear
just sounded
Gene
so
saying
weird.
It. Yep. Swansea. And it was just in a fairgrounds in southern New Hampshire where literally there is zero population. So it was just funny to see it there, and it was 4th of July. And another great thing about that show, Mark, is how many times have you gotten to see them play Bang Bang You or No No
God.
No?
Yeah, I mean, that is actually something I wanted to talk about because I did write down the set list. Bang Bang You is one of my least favorite Kiss songs of all time. I know maybe you disagree with me. And No 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 was Bruce played good in that, but that was also not a song that I was fond of. But
wasn't one of your favorites.
No, not even close. But it was unique. AJ,
it was unique, and as much as you don't like those songs, I like both of them. I don't despise them, but they're not my favorites. But that album meant a lot to me. And the one thing I was going to say, though, Mark, is as much as those songs, are not their greatest, I would still take them any fucking day over hearing so many of their songs ever again. You know what I mean? Just everything's so fatigued to me that was a little bit of a nice, a nice break, if I may.
Right. I get you.
All right. So that was Swansea, New Hampshire. Wow. That's a great one. So number 6 to me then. And my number 6 is the Asylum Tour, December 20th, 1985 at the Worcester Centrum. And this is the show, Mark, that I think I had it confused with another one before when we had spoken of things. But this is the show that we rode from Hinsdale to in Big Al's station wagon. And
I got something to say about that concert, too. And that's probably why I didn't enjoy it. But
we'll get there. But anyway, one of our good friends drove us down, and one of my best friends, who goes by Scooter, was with me, and we had this station wagon we rode in was one of those ones back in the day that had the third seat that was reversed and you were facing backwards. In 1985, I can't do math right now, but I think I was 14 at this time, maybe 15. But we're in the back seat facing backwards, and you guys had to buy more beer because your original beer froze, and that was Blatt's bottles. BLATZ. Blatt's.
You can't be serious.
No, I'm dead serious because you guys gave them to Scooter and I. And we proceeded to drink.
Of course, you get the crap beer, right? You were 14. You had to be 14 at that point.
Anyway,
just barely 14.
It was just after my birthday. So yeah, whatever I was not old enough to be drinking in the back of a car. But anyway, we finished every one of them. And one of the memories of that was when we got to Worcester, I went into Pizza Hut with Scooter because I had to pee so bad, and I can still see him standing up on his tippy toes, pissing in the sink at Pizza Hut.
Oh, God.
But that was Black and Blue that opened that show, too. Little Tommy Thayer send back, right?
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So can I make a couple comments on that concert? Please?
Absolutely. And I know exactly where you're going with
I have two comments to make about it. The night before, I worked at the post office on a temporary basis in Brattleboro, Vermont. Stopped to get a burger on my way to work at Hardee's. I will tell you who it was. It was Hardee's.
Oh, yes,
I got sick to my mother effing stomach. And anyway, in the meantime, we're sitting there at our parents' house in Hinsdale, New Hampshire, and AJ spent the 4 hours, I think, looking for Big Al's car. And it's just, is that your second concert?
It was. Yep.
I think
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was a lot of fun for you. Not a fun
so
day for
much
me.
for you. You were
I got
green.
out in public and I don't know how to explain it. It was the weirdest sickness I ever had. But what are you going to do? You had a good time, and I'd like to forget that show.
Well, for the record,
nothing to do with the band.
While
Nothing
you
to do
were
with the band.
home, you were green too. So
I was.
yes, you were. All right, man. So what's that bring us to your 6? Yes, number 6.
Yeah, we're only at 6. Yeah, I mean, this is the same tour. It would be in Portland, Maine. It was the same set list, so we're not going to get over that. I mean, yes, they did play White Christmas during the encore.
Yep, I remember that.
But I'm sitting there going over the concerts I've been to today, and I'm wondering why I had such an incredible time that day. Then, as I'm looking up the shows, Ted Nugent opened. Ted Nugent opened, and I am an absolutely gigantic Ted Nugent fan. This is before, I mean, a year or two before he made his comeback with Damn Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
And we just, Donnie went with us. You can't go anywhere with Donnie and not have a good time.
Right.
And I just remember that show being a lot of fun. It was, I think it was December of 1987.
The other great thing about Portland, and I know you didn't love it as much as I did, but I just loved that venue was always general admission. That's the Portland, Maine, Cumberland County Civic Center, which always around here was produced, or whatever you call it, by Frank J. Russo. I can still hear his name on the radio anytime we saw a show in New England. Mm-hmm. Brought to you by Frank J. Russo. And you got so fucking psyched when you heard the radio ad, because it could be 9 months away from the concert and it just pumped you up. But all right. So that's number 5 to me. This would be the Revenge Tour, October 8th, 1992, yet again in Worcester. So many of my shows were there. This year was Trickster and Faster Pussycat opening.
Yep.
Yeah, yep. It was just a great show. And here's the big thing that a big memory of this show was it was you, David, and David's our brother, and his girlfriend Naomi at the time, and my fiance at the time, I think, or girlfriend, now my ex-wife, if I may add. But anyway, we all went, and after Faster Pussycat came off, we went into the, what do you call it? The concourse, whatever you call it, the hallway to get, some food and a beverage. And as we were walking back in, I'll never forget it. A guy comes out and hands us 2 tickets and says, "Do you want these?" What do you say? "I came for the opening acts. KISS sucks." Anyway, he handed me the tickets, and we look at them, and they were second row. So for that whole show, that whole KISS
That's
show,
crazy shit right there, man.
Mm-hmm. But we are, and I don't know.
Revenge. That was a good concert too.
Yeah, it was, and a good set list. And I don't know if you remember this, Mark, but we slowly brought each and every one of you up.
I do.
Yep.
I do.
Mm-hmm. I'd take Ricky's ticket. I'd take Ricky's ticket. I'd go back. I'd get you.
I do remember that vaguely.
Oh man!
But
anyway, all right. So that brings us to your number 5.
Okay, July 6th, 1990, in Old Orchard Beach, Maine, and this was Eric Carr's last tour with KISS. A great guy, great drummer, and we didn't know that at the time. We didn't even know he was sick.
Right.
They had the Sphinx at that tour, right, AJ?
Hot in the
that
Shade.
Was the one with the Sphinx.
Yeah, it's great. Leon.
And Leon.
Yeah.
They opened up with I Stole Your Love, and they did Rise to It, Hide Your Heart Forever, and that was about it. Sorry, Hot in the Shade was not a good record. It was 75% Phil, and they were out and supporting this record, but it was a great concert, though. That tour really outperformed the record itself. So
yeah, that to me is by far, without question, their greatest non-makeup tour. One
I
thing
agree.
I will say, though, I'm going to fight you here a little bit, Mark. Hot in the Shade, to me, is, I mean, the production sucks. Eric Carr would even tell you that if he were here. But that album, to me, had so many great fucking songs on it, especially the latter Paul songs, like later in the album. I mean, You Love Me to Hate You, King of Hearts, just awesome tunes. It's funny because my show, my number 4 is next, and mine's Hot in the Shade. As I said already, that is, in my opinion, the fucking greatest non-makeup tour they ever did. Great stage show. They came out, that's the first show where they didn't have the logo for most of the show until the end. And they also did not come out with the infamous "You Wanted the Best." But just to come out and to hear "I Stole Your Love" as the opener.
I'd love that. That is such a great song to open the
oh my
concert
God.
with.
It just brought me back to Kiss Meets the Phantom. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. I just loved that show. I love that whole tour. And that was Slaughter and Little Caesar again. And one thing, this was, I haven't said where it was yet. And that was at Great Woods at the time. God knows what they call it now, but it's in Mansfield, Mass. Saw countless shows there. But here's my memory, brother. And that is with you, David, and countless other people we were with.
Did I go to that show?
You did, because I got you on video playing football, and that was fucking unreal. I can still see it.
Why did I forget that one?
I can still see the old deep over-the-shoulder play between me and Dave, and we connect. He spikes the ball, and everyone hugs him. It's just fucking such
Can I give you a little side note on that one?
Great memory.
His birthday is Friday, so if we get a little sidetracked with some of David's stories. Anyway, just getting back to the little football theme there.
All right, then that brings us to your number 4, Mark.
Okay, well, my number 4 is the same one you talked about. Faster Pussycat and Trickster opened up. It was the Revenge Tour. It had a lot of songs from the record. Unholy was on it. And it was, I mean, the record was a great record. It was a fun show. Apparently, we got up to the front row. So, I mean, I had a blast there, and they were kind of at their peak. You had Eric Singer and Bruce Kulick still in the band. And this was kind of like their comeback record because they got really poppy between Animalize. You know, I mean, Animalize was probably pretty heavy. It just didn't hit it with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Let's see. Where are we at? My number 3. All right. This one, man, I imagine this is going to be on your list. I hope it is. But if it's not, it's not. But this is the KISS Convention, July 29th, 1995. One of the greatest times I've ever had in my life. And I got a lot to say about this one. All right. I mean, first of all, I think the ticket was $100. You know, that didn't count the hotel and whatnot. But can you imagine going for an all-day event with KISS nowadays with a meet and greet and paying $100? I think it's more like fucking at least $1,000 or $2 to be in the corral and see them for 5 seconds. But anyway, I got a story about this, a couple, and one of them is one of my best KISS memories, and that's at the end of the show. Gene was in the elevator when I went to walk in, and he held his hand up and gave us the shush sign, and I did. I just shut up, and behind me was a woman wheeling in a little boy in a wheelchair. And Gene just started, massaging the kid's shoulders. And the kid looked up, saw that it was Gene, and just went nuts, man. It was just really...
How did Gene act after the kid went nuts?
Oh, it was awesome. He was so cool and just smiling at the kid, just so genuine, and I'll never forget that because I loved that. But just to see, all the memorabilia that was there and whatnot, a tribute band. But then the meet and greet was fun too, although, it was kind of like a corral. You could talk to him for a minute, but whatever. We didn't pay extra for that shit. But how about the beer, Mark? Do you remember that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I got all excited for about 2 seconds, you little shit. How much is the beers, AJ?
Yeah.
Free! And the guy behind him is like, no, 3, which, and what are we in, 2024, that would have been like
a
reason to have an orgasm. $3 for a beer? But back then, I mean, 3 was fine too, but he thought it was free.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yes, I did. But 3 was okay, too. But the other part was just the unplugged set, just taking requests, and that was just fucking very intimate show, and I just
sorry to interrupt you, they probably only took the requests that they already had on their doc.
Of course. I mean, that's always how they are. But still, there was a lot of deep cuts that show, and...
yeah, absolutely.
That whole unplugged, I mean, absolutely. So awesome. Well, that brings us to your 3 then, Mark.
Okay. Well, I also have the convention of 95.
Perfect. Yep.
And do you remember we were waiting in line and they were saying we weren't on the list?
Oh,
we were getting really panicky. And I don't even remember what it was that got us in. I mean, we paid the money.
The tickets, maybe? Yeah, exactly. Yes. For some reason, though. Yeah, I do recall that.
I can see her face to this day. So anyway, you were talking about some of the deep cuts. Coming Home, Plastic Caster, Going Blind, Sure Know Something, World Without Heroes, and Shandy.
I mean, basically, they're the MTV Unplugged set, really.
Yes.
But there was a lot more. They did a few different ones in there, too. I have to go back and look at it, which you have in front of you. But I thought there were a few different ones in there. But wow, what a great time that was.
That was such a fun day. We stayed over, and it was fun. It was so much fun.
That was one of the best times of my life, man.
They had so much... memorabilia all over the place, and mannequins, and they had Eric Carr as the Hawk, and it was just really fun.
Oh, it was a great time. Great fucking time. All right, man. So number 2 to me, is that where we're at already? Jeez. Well, it was the reunion tour. July 30th, 1996, Boston, Mass, at the Fleet Center, previously the Boston Garden. Tore it down, rebuilt this, and I'll never forget that feeling, being a KISS fan my whole life, knowing after all those years that I'm going to see my favorite band in fucking makeup for the first time with Ace Frehley and Peter Criss. Just the feeling that we had, I couldn't believe it. David and I both, we spent $130 for our seats. Once again, a ticket that we thought was pricey back then, but we were up in the loge, like the first section to the side of the stage, only like 3 rows up, unbelievable seats. And I know you guys were all up in the nosebleeds, but it was just, I don't know. I can't compare anything to it other than my number 1. But a story I want to tell about this is just really important to me. And that's the fact that we're walking in Boston Garden. My hair's standing up on my arms to go see Kiss and Makeup with Ace and Peter. Just unbelievable. And I get hit in the head with a pamphlet. And I turn around and I see this table set up with all these people there. And they're preaching how, Kiss is Satan and, we're going to go to hell because we're going to see them and whatnot. Anyway, I look down at the ground to see what hits me in the head. And it's a pamphlet called The Day the King's Son Died. All right. Well, it just so happens that my uncle wrote that pamphlet. So, yes, he did. He was an evangelist. His name was Clinton
Uncle
White.
Clinton.
Yep, you got it. And I picked it up and I went over to that table and had about a fucking 10-minute conversation with them. And they started packing their table up and leaving. I'll never forget it as long as I live. And just what an experience for that to all come together in one night.
Isn't that crazy shit, man?
It's crazy. And I'll never forget it, man. So there's my number 2,
How could
bro.
you forget that? How could you forget that?
Yeah. And that goes to you, bro. What do you got?
All right. My number 2 show is Lick It Up in Worcester, Massachusetts. My first KISS concert ever.
Yep.
And me and David took a bus down. I mean, I'm 19 at the time, and we didn't have much money. And we just figured, how are we going to get down there? We took a bus and we got down there, and it was the first show after the makeup came off.
Yep.
And they weren't drawing even. They did okay. I mean, it was probably about 2/3 full.
Yeah.
And a lot of the shows we went to, KISS was think of professional wrestling back then, or anytime mid-card. They were not the the
They were not
headliners
the big boys, right? No, I get it.
They weren't the jobber. They were in the 70s. They became it again during the reunion tour. But
Right.
oh my goodness, Bon Jovi and Accept warmed up for them. I didn't even remember the Bon Jovi part. And we were stone cold sober, by the way.
Yeah.
Stone cold sober. And the guitar player at that point was Vinnie Vincent. He wasn't in the band for long, but a great songwriter. And obviously, Eric Carr had just joined. And I need to tell you about the songs on this. They opened up with Creatures of the Night.
Yes.
Fits Like a Glove. Give Me More. War Machine. I Love It Loud. So it was bone crushing. But, between Accept opening up and KISS, Vinny, he would do his long guitar solos. But I had a blast.
Yeah.
David had a blast.
Right.
And that was my first concert. And,
Oh,
I'm
man.
only, I'm 19 at the time.
Yeah,
I couldn't get
go.
any booze.
Mom and Dad wouldn't let me. I was too young. Oh, man. I would love to know. I mean, I can look it up, obviously, but I would love to see Bon Jovi's set list from that night. And Accept.
I didn't know who the hell he was, pretty much.
Yeah, well, that's actually, when looking back to his albums, that's when I liked what he did, up through Slippery in New Jersey. And then, he actually was smart with what he did later, but that's irrelevant. But all right. So, wow, we're at number 1 already. And it was the Animalized tour, November 23rd, 1984 in Worcester yet again. Queensryche opened. Awesome opening act.
I love Queensryche, man. I love them.
This was my first KISS concert. I'm 12 years old, 11 years old. I think I was 12 at the time, but
You were
just
12.
the excitement that I felt on the way to that was like going to see my absolute friggin' heroes, and I don't know, it certainly started part of my life that I'm obviously still passionate about, and here I am, but I got to go with you and David, and that means the world to me. Sorry. I'm emotional over it right now, just because of how fucking awesome it was.
Yeah, they did Black Diamond, and they did it in 2.5 minutes.
Right. Oh, yeah, that just meant the world to me. Anyway, So we'll go to your number 1.
Okay, my number 1, you obviously can figure it out now, but I grouped two concerts in because we went to both of them. It would be the reunion tour.
Yeah.
The excitement we had that year, and I wasn't disappointed in the least bit.
No,
The
I thought it was
Nixons-
great.
The Nixons actually opened up for them. I don't even know who the hell they are.
No.
Probably
No, I don't think I don't even remember them, honestly, but
yeah, I was hoping the Reagans were going to open up, but they just didn't. But anyway,
that's a Mark joke for you people out there.
you know the song list. I mean, they they played a lot of the same stuff right through the farewell tour. Probably
I will say
other
though,
songs.
they did New York Groove Mark
Yep.
and Rock Bottom, which I hadn't heard for a while, so those were nice
Right.
to hear.
That's
in the
true.
mix.
That's
Yep.
true. But we went down for 2 shows. Dave was. Can I tell you the story about him going around trying to sell Carnival of Souls?
You can
and
tell everyone
cassettes?
the story. Absolutely.
Yeah, so he's running around. I remember this band. It was a cover, not a cover band. They weren't a band. They were just 4 people dressed in makeup and full regalia, and they were like, "No." I mean, I don't blame them. Would you buy a cassette tape from a stranger, let alone a stranger that looked like Dave?
Wait, I'm wondering, was he trying to sell Carnival of Souls, or was it just a copy of it that he?
No,
because
AJ,
it wasn't
the record
released.
had not come out.
I understand
record-
that, but the bootleg was pretty much out there already. So you're saying
Yes,
he was trying to sell like the fucking blank tape that he recorded on a Maxell.
Correct. That's exactly what I'm telling you.
All right,
And
now I
nobody
get
bought
you.
it. Nobody bought it. But I mean, I actually like the
funny.
second show better because I ended up with better seats. I
Yeah,
watched it with David.
and
So-
I was in the nosebleeds for the second.
Oh,
one,
is that how
but-
we reversed it? But
Yeah.
yeah, no, we had a great time, and my life was going awesome at the time. Oh, I was still working at the state. Well, let that go. I had met my wife previously a few months earlier, and I was on cloud 9. We're going to see KISS. The excitement that I had when they came out for that Grammys or whatever the hell it was. and
Oh
they came
yeah,
out in
there's-
full
with
makeup.
Tupac,
I knew right
yeah.
there that it was with Tupac. God rest his soul. But at that point, I knew they were going to do a concert
Yeah.
or a tour, and I was really excited. And I was not disappointed in the least bit.
No way.
even
That was a
close.
great tour. I mean, I saw it countless times. They came back around, but I have them
I did
all
too.
written down somewhere. But just,
I saw it at least 3 times, maybe more. I don't know.
but those 2 were just, I mean, they were epic. You know, it was, we just missed it. You know, like there were so many people that got to see them before and then the non-makeup. But, you know, for people like us, we just never had that pleasure. And I want to say something about this, Mark. And that's that, you know, you go back through their entire career and you look at everything through 1978, 79, right? And then you take what was happening between then and 1995, okay? And then you have Ace and Peter come back and you look at what happens between 96 and the farewell. All right. Now, that's a third of the years, if not even less than that, maybe a fourth of their years in existence. Now a fucking fifth, right? But at no point in history were they ever fucking bigger. And my point being is that Ace and Peter are a factor that is way more important than anyone out there thinks. You know, obviously their sound and their personalities had a big part to, you know, contribute to that band. But I mean, everyone I loved, and I never, ever checked out of KISS. I supported everything they did until Tommy and Eric. And I still don't hate Tommy and Eric. I just didn't love the fact that they put the makeup on and, you know, kind of copycat. And I know that's all Paul and Gene, nothing to do with those guys. And
I know,
who
they
the
got a big
fuck
paycheck,
wouldn't
you know?
take it, right? Who wouldn't? I don't blame them. But I just, that's when I checked out. But you just look at the
Can I say-
history and how big. Yeah, Mark, what do you got to say?
1,000,000%. I mean, 100% is as high as you can get. But once they did that, and I saw them come out with Tommy and Eric Singer, and I love Eric Singer. He's an
Absolutely.
incredible
I mean,
drummer.
on Revenge, we all
Incredible
loved him.
drummer.
Mhm.
And Tommy Thayer, I mean, he was actually playing Ace Frehley. He played his solos the same way. He did everything the same way.
Yep.
And like you said, I don't really blame him. It was a payday, but I checked out completely. I remember going to a Patriots game back when we had season tickets with David, and he's playing that record. What was it? Not Monsters, but
not Monster,
Sonic
but
Boom.
Sonic Boom. Yeah,
Sonic Boom. And I'm sitting there like,
I love
with
that you
this
called it Monsters, Mark, because that's how little you know about it. You know what I mean? I just,
I had no interest. He's like, see, you don't care. I'm like, no, Dave, I really don't.
Exactly. And you know what, people? I just want to put this out there. That doesn't mean we are not diehard Kiss fans. You know, I checked out. You don't have to have checked out. There's such a fucking army out there, Mark, and a war going on between people that are for or against it. And I just don't understand why people can't have their own fucking opinion, and it bothers me.
Yeah, so AJ, what I want to say about that is we're honest.
Yep.
We're not sycophants.
Exactly.
We tell the truth.
That's right.
I mean, if I don't like a Kiss record, which you seem to like Hot in the Shade, I wasn't a huge fan.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll tell you the truth. Nobody is ever going to get a disingenuine Mark White on this show.
Nope.
Not to talk to myself, the third person, but you will never get that.
Jimmy's getting angry.
What's that? Black is getting angry.
Don't touch Jimmy.
Is that from Seinfeld?
It is, yeah.
I remember that. Then that's when George came in instead.
Yeah. He wore the shoes, remember? And he tried to jump. But anyway, all right. Well, great show, Mark. You got any honorables?
Yeah, I mean, wow, that's a tough one, AJ. I didn't go to anywhere close. I mean, I went to a show with Valerie. It was down at Great Woods or whatever they were calling it at the time, and Ted Nugent warmed up, and I was much happier with the Ted Nugent portion of the concert. And
sure.
And I mentioned that one because she sent me. We were married. She gave me a card, and it was so heartfelt. And she's like, the best news is I'm going with you. And then I walked into the room and like cried for two. I'm only joking. I was happy about it. And you know, they did okay. It just, Peter was having a struggle. I don't know. He probably has issues with, I'm getting my shoulder replaced.
He was probably mentally checked out too. I mean, we know that.
Can you blame him, really?
Yeah. All right.
Especially after he found out he was getting paid less than Ace.
I know. That must have been huge, huh? I couldn't imagine that. All right. So for me, I only have two. And one, I mean, I'm sure if I thought about it, I could have more.
You've been to 37, AJ.
But one is Swansea, of course. Just being the town next door.
You didn't say it right, AJ.
Swansea! Anyway, just 4th of July, Jen, my girlfriend, was there. And,
by the way, the Kentucky Fried Chicken's still there.
Very fun, is it? No. Anyway, my other one, and this is huge to me, and the only reason this didn't make my list is it was post Ace and Peter. And Paul, this is the first time seeing them live. However, it was in Guilford, New Hampshire. It was October 7th, 2013. It's the last time I saw Kiss with David. So that makes it special. Anyway, it was the first show that I brought my girls to. And so just to be the first concert that my daughters ever went to, and I made them both up. One of them, Gene, one of them, Paul, full on makeup. And that was just really, really special to me. But that is the first. We were actually right by the center stage where Paul flies out, and right next to him for Love Gun, and I was made. But that's the first time that I really heard Paul's voice and him falling off a cliff with it. And,
he started going downhill.
You know what, though? But at least he was fucking live. But all right. That was a great show. Thank you, Mark.
That was a lot of fun. I'll see you all for the next cast.
Awesome. We'll see you soon, people. And thank you for listening. Talk to you real soon.
You
You've been listening to Pastimes at 80s High. Our passion is the nostalgia from the 70s, 80s, and early 90s. When times were more simple, times were more fun.
Hey, bud, let's party.
And we weren't stuck in our phones all day.
Inconceivable!
We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, you can send an email to pastimes@80shigh@gmail.com and hit the website at pastimes@80shigh.com. See you next time.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.